Are you struggling to conceive? You have options, and at Piedmont Reproductive Endocrinology Group, we'll make sure you have the guidance and support you need. PREG is known for individualized fertility care that's unique to every patient. We take the time to provide a reassuring and empowering experience because we believe that you deserve nothing less. Let us help you on your journey to parenthood. Visit us at pregonline.com to learn more. Get the guidance and support you need at Piedmont Reproductive Endocrinology Group.
Did you miss your deadline to renew your Medicaid coverage? You can still send your completed annual review form to Healthy Connections Medicaid. You may be assigned to another health plan, but you can ask to come back to First Choice within 60 days of renewed Medicaid eligibility. It's your family. It's your choice. First Choice is the right choice. Renew and choose us. Visit selecthealthofsc.com/renew to learn more.
Welcome to Pretty Lies and Alibis, a podcast dedicated to the Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell case. Join us as we seek the truth and travel the long road to justice. What's going on, everybody? So we were just looking. It's been a month since we've done a podcast.
Yeah, I didn't think it'd been that long, but it has.
Man, time flies. You've been out west again. Were you in Nevada or New Mexico? I mean, not Nevada.
I was not in Nevada. I was in New Mexico and Arizona, just different times. Yeah.
At Thanksgiving, did you have a nice Thanksgiving?
I did.
That's good.
Yep. Good. And then I quarantined when I got back just to be safe. So
I know. I've seen you twice in a month.
Yeah.
Which is
crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yep.
So yeah, we're just getting ready for Christmas around here.
School's out. What, tomorrow?
School's always out when they're doing it online. What are you talking about?
It's tough.
I've been with my kids for 9 months solid.
Yeah.
I love them. But I get tired.
Yeah, it's a little hectic, a little crazy.
A little bit crazy. So there's been, we go periods where there's nothing, and then all of a sudden there's a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
So not much happened in the month since we did the last one, but then this week we've had some big news with this recording of Rob Wood and allegations and all that mess, and we're going to get into that in a little while. But what do we have coming up? What's the next court dates?
January 6th, because I know Wood requested, what'd he say, what word am I hunting?
Like
for the
continuance?
No, for the stuff about him. He requested it be heard like quick.
Oh yeah, like expedited.
Yeah, expedited. That was the word I was hunting. It was bouncing around in there.
That's okay. I caught it for you.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, unless something comes up, I wouldn't think it would come up before the 6th of January, but I don't know. Yeah. So yeah, the 6th is the first one.
And that's both Lori and Chad.
Yeah. Yeah. Will they be together?
I don't know.
Will they both show up? No, I think they have to, right?
They have to come for that one.
So
this might be the first time we actually see them in the courtroom together.
Yep. Because she waived her right to appear in those other ones. So
that's all right. So it's been a while since we've seen her. I'm curious to see how much the gray has grown out.
Yeah.
It's totally a woman thing, but I take pleasure in the little things.
Oh, I know, right?
Like seeing her Botox wear off and and the gray come out.
Yeah.
So
she'll have that mask on though.
Oh, I know.
It's so irritating.
I'll be glad when COVID's over just so we can see all of Lori.
Exactly.
So there were some filings about the dismissal, and Pryor is still calling her Vallow.
Yeah. I don't know. Like,
I don't care what nobody says. I think they're turning on each other. They're already turned.
Yeah.
Because he also mentioned in the change of venue filing that he brought up the fact that Lori tried to justify the right to harm Joseph Ryan.
Yeah. Okay, we all know. I can't tolerate Pryor at all. But if you think about it, like his job is to get his client off. Like that's his job.
Yeah.
To get his client off. So whatever Chad says, I think he's gonna kind of do what, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Well, it's every man for himself, really, at this point between Chad and Lori.
Yep.
And because I went back and watched a little bit of when he was questioning Melanie Gibb, and he sort of, it was the point where he says to her, "Why did you just look at the prosecutor?" And Melanie Gibb's like, "I was just looking around." And I just had to turn it off because it was so condescending.
Yeah.
And no, I don't like Pryor's demeanor. But like you say, I mean, out of the two, he seems to be the one filing more motions and being a little more proactive.
Yeah, and I was waiting because when normally Means like does all this crazy stuff and it ends up being nothing. And I was waiting because normally Pryor does all the filings. Mm-hmm. But this time it was like, okay, Means did the filing, and then Pryor jumped in on the whole Rob Wood thing and all that stuff. So,
but I think even if they've separated at this point, there are some things that Pryor and Means can do sort of in tandem, which would be these kind of filings.
Yeah,
that's sort of. It doesn't really matter if they turned on each other. He also accused Rob Wood of not releasing Tammy Daybell's autopsy, which we were just discussing before we started this.
Yeah.
It's been over a year since they did her autopsy.
Yep.
She was exhumed December 11th, and if you remember at the time, they said it would take about a year.
Yep.
To get those results back, and we're past a year, and we know, I guess it was maybe late summer that they passed that up to the Attorney General.
Yeah.
And we've heard nothing.
Yeah, and I mean, we were talking about it. If they haven't charged them with anything, they don't have to release that, right? I mean, right? Like,
I don't think that they have to release like a cause of death, but we always go back to what Nate Eaton from East Idaho told Nancy Grace, which is he's heard, even without a cause of death, they may have enough to charge them just on digital evidence.
Yeah.
I just don't understand why we haven't heard anything about it. I mean, I know they don't have a timetable for murder charges, but it's been a year.
Yep.
And I'm sure they have a reason, but I think about her family. They're just waiting.
Yeah.
And it's been a year. They may know more than we do, but, you know, I think I saw a statement a few months ago that sort of insinuated they didn't know anything yet, you know, at that point.
Yeah.
So it's just been a long haul. And with them moving things up, I just don't know. I kind of feel like maybe since all this stuff with Rob Woods come out, you know, is it a good time for them to drop conspiracy to commit murder charges, which he mentions on that or supposedly mentioned on that recording. We'll get to that.
Yep.
But now's a good time, guys. Give us all a Christmas gift.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how long have they been in jail?
So Chad's been in there about 6 months and Lori's been in there about 10 months. Mm-hmm. That's a long time.
It is a long time, and but in the grand scheme of the rest of their life, it's not a long time. But we always say this, I wonder what they're doing. I wonder how they're coping. I think at some point you maybe just have to give in and become an inmate.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of a survival thing. The last we heard was that Chad mostly kept to himself.
Yeah, and that she does the same. She's still reading his books.
But we did sort of hear from that. We did hear from that lady that was in there with her that said that she did kind of, did she say that she kind of strutted around a little bit? She was very eager to see the news story.
Yeah.
After a hearing or something.
Yeah.
But, you know, you have to wonder at this point, Lori's been in almost a year. What's her true state of mind?
Yep.
That's interesting stuff. So we've got a big 3-hour documentary coming up Sunday.
Yeah, I think this is going to be good stuff to watch. There's, I think, like Kay and Larry's on there, and they followed him around like, I don't forget how many months.
It was a year.
Okay, so a year. And if you remember, this is like Means tried to say, oh, they're trying to secretly record something in the courtroom. And they were like,
oh, yeah,
no.
yeah, I remember that.
You know, they were doing this documentary. So,
yeah, Kay was like, we took the mics off in the car. What are you talking about?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's going to be on the investigative, I think, Discovery Channel
Yeah.
Sunday night. It starts at 7 p.m. It's a 3-hour special, and it's called Doomsday: The Missing Children.
Yeah.
And I saw Adam Cox in the commercial.
I saw the same thing.
Lori's brother.
Yep. Who we haven't heard him really say anything. So
No, and
this will be interesting.
And the little clip that they played was him saying that he noticed she was becoming obsessed with end of the world, doomsday stuff.
Yeah.
So, there, I'm going to be watching. I've already told you, like, clear your evening.
Yeah.
We'll put on some popcorn and we'll sit here. I think the thing is, so they had to have been in the process of filming this when they found the bodies.
Yeah, I saw a couple of shots where they were pretty emotional.
Yeah. So
it'll be a gut wrencher for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. A heart tugs. So some other stuff you saw. So they gave an interview with Arizona Family.
Yeah, Kay and Larry did, I believe yesterday. I tweeted it out, put it on Facebook. And essentially they were saying that they're just glad they now know what happened to the kids or where they were.
Yeah, they talked like this time last year they didn't, that was kind of the whole.
Right. And they were talking about how they were holding out hope that they were just off the grid somewhere.
Yeah.
Because I don't even think a year ago Kay and Larry could have ever predicted that Lori would have allowed anything to happen to those kids as crazy as they thought she was.
Yeah.
And I think we always went back and forth before the kids were found. It's 1 month I would think, yeah, they're totally off the grid somewhere. And then the next minute I would think, oh, it's been too long with nothing.
Yeah.
It was because we started following this case a year ago. Yeah. Literally, it was a year ago. I'd found the case first and kind of read up on it. And I told you, because you never followed trials.
Yeah.
Ever. And I told you, I said, this is a good one to watch. This is interesting. There's a lot of pieces to it. And here we are a year later.
Yeah.
Doing a podcast and devoted a lot of this year to researching this case.
Most definitely.
If you want to kind of like weigh all the things I've done all year, I'd say this,
yeah.
Being a mom, being a daughter, granddaughter, whatever. And then this researching this case. Is my top
and then
five.
we took it on the road to the beach. Yeah. All that
That's
stuff.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a crazy year with a lot of twists and turns. And so now we just wait for the slow wheels to keep churning.
I know, right? Like I'm ready to get in and start, like trial and
it's
all
going to
that
be
stuff.
a while. It's not even going to happen in June.
Yeah.
There's no way.
I don't think so either.
Because if you remember, we're in the time frame, even though they came back in Arizona for Charles's death, they said, oh, we'll have it probably by the end of the year. Well, here we are. And then they sort of revised that and said, no, we didn't mean the end of the year.
Yeah, we didn't mean that. Yeah.
But, I mean, there's so much to come.
Yeah.
There's so many charges to come. There's so much information to come out. So we're just getting started with this case. It's just now we hit the delays and the mudslinging and all that. But the one thing that stuck out to me was in the interview, I don't think Kay and Larry mentioned it themselves, but it was said that they still have not released JJ and Tally's bodies to the family.
Yeah, like that. That's tough.
That's hard. Those poor babies have not been laid to rest.
Yeah.
And you have to wonder why.
Yeah, I know. Like, I don't know.
I've been back and forth. I think part of me thinks they just don't have a cause of death for one or the other. Or are they comparing stuff to other deceased individuals, their autopsies, to see if there's a common thread? They're not holding these bodies just to hold them. There's a reason. Yeah.
And I know they don't want to have to exhume a body, or you know what I mean? So I don't know if that has anything to do with it. That, oh, wait, we found something. Oh, now we need to check. You know what I mean? So,
yeah. You never know, but
I don't know.
I know with Tylee, just the condition that her remains were found, it's probably going to be very hard to find a cause of death for her. Although if you watch a lot of the investigative shows, they can take skeletal remains sometimes and still find a cause of death.
Yeah.
So who knows why, but I don't know. I feel like those poor babies need to be put to rest.
Yeah. But, at least they know it's not they know what happened now.
Right.
So they get some kind of closure.
I think so. I think with Chad and Lori, I know we all sort of felt when they found the bodies and then they arrested Chad. For me, it was sort of like, okay, this is sort of switching over to the next phase of this case.
Yeah.
So what all did Kay and Larry say in their interview?
They talked about in their last two interviews, it was like dredging up all that hurt back up.
Yeah.
That it was, very hard. It wiped them out. I mean, honestly, they're older, like they're grandparents.
Right.
And I know, like, they've been on an emotional roller coaster for a year.
Yeah.
So
not only that, but they lost Charles.
Yeah.
The same year.
Yeah.
So it's been a double whammy for both of them.
Yeah.
To lose Charles and then lose JJ and Tylee.
Yeah. And you throw in tons of other things.
Oh, yeah.
Just being in the public eye, having to deal with constant attacks or living under a microscope.
Yeah.
And then they had those hurricanes come through, like one right after the other.
They had two.
Yeah.
That directly impacted them. They've had a horrible year.
Yeah. So I think she said it was 2 days of staying home and crying and not talking to anyone. And I totally get it, dude.
I bet.
I
bet. Because to lose a child in an accident is just bad enough, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But to know that child was consciously taken, that a healthy child was taken out of this world for reasons of evil, I don't know how you ever resolve that in your life. I think that you probably get to a point to where you learn to deal. And Kay had said in the interview that they do have other grandkids that have been a big help.
Yeah.
That have helped them sort of move on a bit. And then she talked about how she does have a little bit of peace in knowing that Tylee and JJ are together in heaven.
Yep.
And but I think you talk about the public eye, and I've seen it covering other cases and then getting to know some of Travis Alexander's family members throughout that trial and afterwards. It's hard enough to grieve the loss in such a brutal way on a private scale, much less, with the Jodi Arias, Travis Alexander case, that was a lot like this. It was global.
Yeah.
And there was so much interest, and some people online weren't very nice to the families, and we've seen that in this case.
Oh, yeah.
So on top of dealing with just the grief that's very raw and real, you're dealing with other dramas that strangers create.
Yeah.
And I saw it happen in other cases, and I've seen it with this.
Yeah. The thing that hit me yesterday when all this mudslinging going back and forth was, okay, Mark means the stuff you brought up, your client is guilty.
Yeah.
She's guilty.
Uh-huh.
And the stuff you're bringing up about Rob Woods, I mean, there's people dead. You have 2 kids that were murdered, and you're bringing up, he said this or that. I mean, I'm like, come on, dude.
Yeah.
So
the other thing that since we were last on, is they released a bunch of pictures of Joseph Ryan's apartment when they found his body.
Yeah, that was that whole thing was crazy.
Yeah. Because I've been confused about the status of that, because initially, months ago, they said that it was a natural death. We're not reopening it. And then we heard they were going to reopen it, and then we heard they weren't. And now we've heard that they've reopened it again. But so we're just going to talk about a few of the pictures that we saw. I'll put a link to these on Twitter and Facebook for you guys. We're going to get that YouTube channel back up and running. I'm going to be honest. The reason we haven't is I've just been busy. Fruit Loop's been busy, and I haven't had time to really do much. But so there was a picture of some shelves. And the one thing that stuck out to me was every single picture on that shelf was Tylee.
Yep.
Him with Tylee or her by herself.
Yeah.
We didn't see any of that in Rexburg.
No.
You know, I think the last time I saw pictures of the kids on a shelf was pictures from when she was married to Charles.
Yeah.
And it was in their house.
Yep.
We still don't really, I can't figure out how long he had lived in Arizona before he died, but you said something about the lawyer.
Yeah, he talked about Joe lived with him for a while and then lived with his brother for a while.
Yeah.
And so eventually got his own place.
Yeah.
We just don't know how long he was there.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look at the apartment, it looks like a bachelor pad. There's nothing in there that's homely or homey. I don't know, is it homely or homey? Homey. You're my homie.
I was gonna say like
homie to clown.
Homey. It was not. It was typical. There wasn't a lot of furniture.
No, those are like bare minimum of what you need to live. But those pictures for me spoke volumes because you just have this kind of barren apartment, and then you got like the whole shelf was just covered with Tylee.
Yeah,
I won't say covered, but there were like 5-6 pictures. And it just goes back to the podcast that we did months ago where we went through all those custody papers and she made him out to be a monster. And now we know he was the one that would have definitely, we wouldn't be in the situation we're in now if Joe had gotten custody. But he moved there to be with her. And I don't think from what we know, I don't think he saw her.
Yeah.
She said she hadn't seen him in 2 years is what she told police.
Yeah, that's what Lori said. So...
Yeah, and what about the doors?
I just thought it was weird that there were 2 deadbolts. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've lived in an apartment complex. You've lived in an apartment complex. I never added a deadbolt to my door. No, I have friends that live in apartment complexes now. They don't have a second deadbolt.
I don't know. My first apartment, I probably should have.
It's true. That's true.
Dude, I was straight up in the worst. I didn't know when I got it, but to put 2 on there, I mean, at this point, obviously it was after he had been tased by Alex Cox.
Yeah.
So he might have had some, justifiable fear. But,
yeah, I mean.
But it's been a while since that happened. Tylee was little when that happened.
Yeah.
I think she was 5. So you're looking at years have passed, I think, and he still kind of makes you wonder, was there some threats that maybe happened before he died? I don't know. Or maybe, I think being tased is so traumatic in that way that it could have just created some paranoia.
Yeah. Other stuff in there was like exercise stuff. So he had a bike, like a bike he could ride outside, exercise equipment, a physio ball, the big ball. There was like a blood pressure cuff.
Yeah.
So it looked like he was taking care of himself or trying to.
Yeah, and I believe Annie had said, his sister Annie Cushing had said at one point that maybe he had gained some weight. If you looked at the driver's license picture, he definitely did look like he had gained weight compared to that the passport picture. But he was having an issue with his drinking and depression, which are kind of like, it's like gasoline and fire for weight gain. And he had every right to be depressed.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy went into major debt. He got the DUIs, which made it hard for him, I think, to get hired again. And then he couldn't see his daughter. Exactly. And not only that, he had been made out to be a pedophile.
Yep.
So much stress on that poor guy.
So it also looked like he was cooking or had been cooking. There was like spaghetti sauce or something on the stove. Mm-hmm. But just very basic stuff in there. Not very lived in. No,
he had a lot of boxes on the floor for printers and instructions were laid out. Did you notice the lady's sunglasses on that counter?
Yeah, that was
interesting.
Yeah, I was looking for the word.
But we do know that after he died, Lori went in that apartment.
Yeah, all that is like really weird.
Yeah, it is very weird. She hasn't talked to him in 2 years, but she was the next of kin. So technically, I guess she would have been responsible for that. But being the next of kin, I'm curious, and maybe we should look this up and see, was there any kind of a filing by her for probate?
Yeah, we haven't looked that up. That'd be something.
It just hit me.
Yeah.
We know that he was supposed to have had a life insurance policy that was for Tylee.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that's going to come out, probably in court about, I don't know if that would come out, but I'm curious to know, did she file probate on his behalf? Did he have any stocks or bonds or savings that she got?
Yeah. I think Annie was on Dr. Oz or something.
Yeah, I didn't watch that, but
she did, mention some things that were odd that stuck out to her about her having the files. Because she said that Lori had files and photo albums.
Which the photo albums probably ended up in the storage shed in Rexburg.
Yeah, exactly. But she had that, and she just mentioned on there that it was odd as to the way Lori described to her how Joe was. It was like she had seen him, so she thought that was really odd. So that was some interesting stuff. But I think Dr. Oz asked her about life insurance, whatever, and she still didn't know. So
yeah.
Yep.
So I saw a couple of books. One was Living Sober. That was a book that was on the floor in one of the pictures. And then there was another book, The Power of Now, A Guide to Spiritual Enlightenment. So it seems like with the health kick, just what few things he had in there that wasn't furniture was health related. And then Living Sober, it seems like maybe he was trying to get things together.
Yep.
And probably in his mind would have a relationship with Tylee at some point, and who knows what happened. But I didn't know he was a veteran.
I didn't either. I saw that and I was like, whoa, I didn't know that.
That was on his driver's license.
Yep.
Okay, round two. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right. ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Yep.
So what's up with all this stuff that happened in the last couple of days?
Oh my goodness. The memes, like the comments on that whole thread were like really funny.
Yeah.
Because everybody's like, oh no, here we go again. Like, he's just crazy. So he, he's saying all this stuff: prosecutor misconduct, criminal acts of witness tampering and intimidation, ethics violation. And I mean, I looked at a couple of things. When you bring up that, it's a big deal in the attorney world.
Oh yeah. And just to kind of summarize what happened is back in October, the prosecutor, Rob Wood, was approached by Zulima's lawyer, who said that she wanted to meet. So Rob Wood went out to Chandler, Arizona, and the meeting took place at the Chandler Police Department. And there was an 18-minute long recording made of that meeting. And the Smith, what's his name?
Garrett
Smith,
yep.
Who is Zulima and we think Summers' attorney,
Yep.
also was the attorney for Melanie Pulowski during her custody dispute. So they're all sharing this one dude.
Yeah. He's one of the guys that's with her when she does her interviews. Remember when her and Ian did those interviews? He's one of the guys that's sitting there that tells her when they ask, when Nate did those interviews.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's one of the guys there.
Okay.
Doing that.
So he made this recording and eventually hands it over to Mark Means. and says that he wasn't comfortable essentially with what Rob Wood was talking about.
Yeah.
And he just told Mark Means that Rob Wood was coaching the witnesses and witness tampering and all this stuff.
Yeah. Okay, it's my understanding if I'm an attorney and I'm with my client and we're meeting with somebody, wouldn't you object? If you're sitting there, wouldn't you say,
Yeah.
"Oh, hold on. Like, I object to these questions," or...
And that's what Wood said in his response to all this, which is, hey, you didn't say anything during the meeting itself that I was out of line.
Yeah.
Seems like a setup to me.
Yeah, that was, that's the other thing we talked about. Like,
Yeah.
why do you record that?
Yeah. I mean, and here's the thing. This is where it could get murky for the attorney is I looked this up, and Mr. Smith, the guy who recorded it, says here, while recording a conversation with the consent of only one party is legal in Arizona, a lawyer's recording of a conversation without the consent of all parties may be unethical under the Arizona Rules of Professional Conduct. However, an attorney may advise his or her client to record a conversation without the consent of all parties as long as the recording is legal and the attorney does not participate in the recording.
Yeah, it's all crazy. Because it's my understanding, too, that normally an attorney will there'll always be another witness in the room.
Right.
So the attorney never has to testify.
Yeah, but the thing is if we find out that and we think the attorney participated because at one point it says that it was being recorded without Zulema in the room.
Yes.
So this could backfire on their attorney if he broke laws of recording this conversation and participated.
Yeah. And I'm thinking, Means, do you have a filter? Like, I mean, when somebody gives you, I mean, it's like, oh, this guy gave me this. Oh, yeah, we're running with this.
Yeah, and here's the thing. We had essentially, in my opinion, intimidating witnesses when he posted the rat gif on his Twitter and essentially says that Melanie Gibb and David Warwick weren't telling what they knew, and he was soliciting essentially evidence from anybody who had it.
Yeah, which was horrible.
Yeah, and it was, to me, the rat thing that he put on there, it's a slight against the witnesses. You're calling them rats.
Yeah.
To the free world. Anybody with a Twitter account can read that.
Yeah.
How?
Meanwhile, your client is the one that's guilty.
But I just thought it was kind of pot calling the kettle black.
Yeah.
Where he's doing it on his Twitter, and then he's alleging the prosecutor does it in a room with people in it.
Yeah, with investigators and everybody.
Oh, I don't think those investigators. It was very informal. I'm not sure who all was there, but the prosecutor said this was not an investigative meeting. This was sort of an introductory, I guess maybe getting familiar. But Zulema asked for it, which makes me think, was this all a setup?
Yeah. Well, the one I saw, it said like he went in, introduced himself, and then he left the room and then spoke with investigators. That was the one I saw. So maybe
I don't know.
You saw different. I don't know, but
yeah.
I mean, again, they contacted them. She wanted the meeting.
Yeah.
So to me, that screams there's other motives here too.
I don't see how the lawyer didn't tell Zulema or Summer, which is Lori's sister, that he was recording the meeting.
Yeah.
So they all had to have known.
Yeah.
Which, to me, you're going to be on your best behavior when you know you're being recorded. It makes Summer and Zulema look good because they look like they followed every rule they need to follow or whatever. Didn't say anything too crazy because they knew it would be on tape.
Yeah.
So, but we did learn a few little nuggets. Well, before we get to that, if you remember when Pryor said that to Melanie Gibb on the stand, if Wood told her what to say.
Yeah.
It almost seems like they've sort of been setting this up since Chad's preliminary hearing.
Yep.
Because he flat out asked Melanie Gibb, did he tell you what to say? Did he coach you?
Yeah. Did he tell you what to wear? Like all this stuff.
Yeah. Why are you looking at him?
Yeah.
But Rob Wood, on the recording, which the court TV had a transcript, or part of it at least.
Yeah.
He did say They're considering conspiracy to commit murder charges for Lori and Chad.
Yeah.
And what else?
That it could be a death penalty case.
Which I thought was big.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But like the thing we don't know, what questions did they ask him to get him to respond to that? You know what I mean?
Oh, it's true. And I mean, at one point in Wood's filing, he says that it seems edited.
Yep.
Now, if they can prove that this was edited, this attorney is going to lose his license probably.
Yeah.
Because you're putting this out into the world before you even file a motion that you want Wood removed. Is that not how it went down? They talked about it and then filed the motion?
Yeah.
So you're going to the court of public opinion trying to me it just seems like they're throwing stuff to the wall and seeing what sticks, but let's try to dirty up the prosecutor, and like that's going to change our opinions of Chad and Lori.
Exactly.
I mean, like,
I'm sorry. I think Rob Wood's done a good job.
They're scared of him.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's, done. He's like a bulldog. That's what I think. Like, he's like,
He's got his stuff together.
Yeah.
When he is in that courtroom, he doesn't get tripped up.
Yeah.
With Pryor, I will say that he definitely is more assertive and seems to be more organized than Mark Means.
I totally agree.
But Pryor has criminal defense attorney experience to where Means doesn't.
Yeah.
His webpage is still a bus.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's just, it's kind of like apples to oranges.
Dude, do you mean he has a bus on his website?
He has a bus. I mean, the last time I looked, it's like a big white charter bus. And I'm like, well, what's the point
What
of
does that mean? Like,
is that what all the cult members get on and go to their little...
What the world?
I don't know.
So they said he did throw out some religious references or whatever through conversation. I mean, it doesn't sound like he asked her, and it was shady how he threw it out. So Means released my brain is not working today.
No, that's okay. Mine's on half capacity.
So he released the minutes. Anyways, he released the transcript. I could not think.
There you go. I got you.
Okay, yeah. So he released the transcript.
You owe me one.
I know, right? It's usually right the opposite.
Exactly.
So he released the transcript before the judge could rule and say, "Oh no, don't talk about this anymore."
Yeah, but the judge just
like right before we came on, right?
just ruled that he wants this stuff sealed.
Yeah.
As it should be. This should not be in the public right now.
Yeah. I feel like this is like 10-year-olds in the neighborhood.
Well, I think a lot of it is just, at this point, Means and Pryor have gotten enough discovery from the prosecution to know what they're up against in a sense.
Yeah.
They don't have to give discovery, I don't think, until they charge them with more stuff. But, I mean, Lord, they've tried to get everything, including the kitchen sink.
Yep.
For stuff that don't even relate to the kids.
Mm-hmm.
But so in the conversation, we know that Rob Wood insults Mark Means and calls him incompetent. And he also makes fun of Chad.
Yeah.
Both very easy things to do.
Oh, yeah.
And then he talked about his own opinions about the case. And he said the cases are strong against Chad and Lori, but Lori's case is stronger.
Yeah.
But what does he say about Chad?
That he thinks he's the mastermind.
Yeah, which is kind of what we sort of have thought all along.
Yeah.
I would have thought the case against Chad would have been stronger.
Because they're buried in a yard.
Right, but you never know. We just don't know what they have.
Yeah. But again, you don't know until we hear that whole thing or see the transcripts from the whole thing.
Right.
I don't think you can say anything because, I mean, it was... They could have asked him anything, and he's responding.
Right.
So if it is edited, like we do enough editing, like video and stuff, like it records what you do on there.
I mean, let's say Summer says, okay, do you have a strong case against my sister? And Wood says, yeah, we do have a strong case.
Yeah.
How is that? I mean...
I don't see anything wrong with that.
No.
Would it have been okay if he said, oh, we don't have anything?
Yeah,
Like,
I can't tell you that, but she's in jail on what, $3 million bail.
yeah.
I mean, do the math. But here's the thing. I believe if Wood didn't know he was being recorded, in this case, it could be illegal.
Exactly.
So let's just see what happens. He didn't think it was the whole conversation.
Yeah, he said it was edited because
Yeah.
he said it because I guess he remembered the whole thing and he said it all wasn't there. So
Right. But the lawyer is still saying that he was within his right to record this.
I think he's wrong.
I think so too. So, but the prosecutor is trying to get an order to keep everybody from talking about this on social media.
Which we know that's Mark Means.
Yeah.
Like,
well, yeah, I mean him.
The main is him because he gets on there, says just crazy stuff.
I mean, I've never seen an attorney in like a pretrial way or a pretrial time go on and do what Mark Means did.
Yeah, he's a pot stirrer.
I've never seen it.
Yeah.
So Shanley Painter on Court TV, she talked to a former prosecutor who said this is a really rare motion to file to remove the prosecutor. And if there's substance there, according to this prosecutor, this could be huge. This could be significant. In other words, if a judge determines that Wood overstep boundaries, this could be a big deal. But the burden of proof is going to be super high.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, if you're going to bring this charge, like, this is a big deal. So if you're going to bring this, then you better have the evidence to back it up.
And you better not be submitting an edited conversation.
Exactly.
Because it's going to backfire.
Yeah. In my opinion, this is all going to backfire on Means.
I think so.
Yeah. I don't think any less of Rob Wood.
No,
by
I don't
hearing
either.
what, I don't.
Okay, so let's just say for the sake of maybe he let his guard down a little bit. I don't think he would with Zulema and Summer.
Yeah.
They're really for the other side. Even if they're going to be prosecution witnesses, especially Summer. That's her sister.
Yeah.
So in spite of all the horrific stuff that's happened, I'm sure with her there is still a feeling of allegiance to her sister.
Yeah.
But let's just say that Wood sort of just let his guard down a little bit and said, yeah, I mean, Chad's the mastermind. Mark Means is an idiot. If I were Summer, I would tell my sister, maybe we need to try to find a better lawyer because the prosecutor's saying he's an idiot.
Yeah.
I don't know. But
so here's the other thing. Could this conversation have happened with like detectives and they're we don't know because we haven't heard anything. Like, could some of those comments been made when he was just around them? And I mean, I know the attorney could still been in the room.
I see
what
you're
I mean?
saying. Yeah.
Like, could it have been that Zulema and Summer were not in there and it was just that group of people? Can that conversation take place? I don't know. I'm not an attorney. I don't know how those things happen, but
yeah.
If you had like Smith in there with the detectives and Wood and they're just sitting around conversating, like, could that have been, I'm just throwing that out there.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
The one thing that Rob Wood, he empathized with the fact that Lori is Summer's sister, but in the recording, apparently he just obviously said the focus is on the kids and justice for them. Now, there's supposed to be more filings to come, but we don't really know what.
Yep.
We just heard there's more filings to come, and they may release the audio soon, although if the judge is involved at this point, he may not allow that audio to be released.
Yep.
I don't think it needs to be. It just really takes the focus off what's important.
Exactly.
But this would be a really good time, I think, for Rob Wood to drop some charges just to kind of take the focus off of him.
Yeah.
And let's get some charges out there, and we're all ready for them.
Yep.
So the prosecution, they don't think the upcoming hearings would be affected by this.
All the mudslinging.
Right.
Yeah.
So we have found out some things about Garrett Smith, the lawyer who made the recording.
Yeah. He was reprimanded, 2016?
Yeah, he didn't monitor the status of his client's civil suit. and he didn't communicate adequately with his oh dear Jesus in heaven.
Yeah,
I'm
there's
not
some
drunk.
cues in there. There's some cues.
I haven't drank enough coffee today.
Yeah.
So he didn't
adequately.
Thank you. He returning the favor. He didn't talk with his client enough about the status of his civil suit, and it resulted in a default judgment. So the other thing was, again, in 2017, that was a reprimand in 2016. The next year, he was suspended for 30 days and got 2 years probation by the state bar. He didn't communicate with his other client, which resulted in 2 bench warrants being issued for the defendant because he didn't tell his client that he had court dates.
Yeah, I don't think I would be calling on this guy.
Nah, it doesn't sound like he's got his stuff together.
It's a little shady, sounds like.
But he had to refund that client $6,500.
Wow.
So what has Wood said in response to these allegations of the recording and he did something wrong?
I mean, he comes out and says at no time did he coerce or intimidate. Like what we said a while ago, the attorney didn't object at any time during the meeting. Wood says the meeting was introductory in nature and not investigative.
Yeah, which I kind of just wonder if Zulema wanted this meeting. What did she want to talk about? Like, I want to meet you, come out to Arizona?
Yeah.
It's just very strange to me.
Yeah. Maybe she wanted to meet okay, this is what I know. Maybe she was sharing what she knew or whatever. So I don't see how you can get coercion and intimidation when he didn't set the meeting up.
Right. And it doesn't sound like, from what we've heard, he was saying, hey, if you don't testify to this, I'm going to put you in jail.
Yeah.
He's just giving his opinion.
What if she asked? What if she said, what if I don't want to testify? Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's so many ways this whole conversation could go.
For sure.
And if you edit, like, we know you can edit a video.
Oh, of
like,
course.
you can make it sound how you want it to sound.
Definitely.
So.
Well, and the thing is, Mark Means also is filing a motion to extend time. In other words, he wants to delay the motion to dismiss the charges for her, which is going to be heard on the 6th of January. And he wants to take the court to take Rob Wood off the case and call on him to appear as a witness.
Yeah.
So I don't think any of that's going to happen. I think worst case scenario, maybe some sanctions or like a reprimand, but I don't see anything in that that's not really essentially sort of something you could conclude on your own.
Yeah, I think it's going to fall back on Means.
I think so too.
Wasting the court's time.
Yeah, and we don't know everything they have, but I just think that Means and Pryor, all they can do is file these kind of, far reach motions.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I am in trouble. I have nothing, and I'm going to throw this and see if it sticks but.
Well, we also heard that Melanie Gibb got married.
Yeah. I think her and David got married.
Well, this past Saturday.
Yeah, I think it was like the 12th, wasn't it, or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they, I looked it up. They still don't get any kind of like spousal privilege in this case.
Yeah.
Who knows? So that was kind of all we had. Just hadn't been a lot going on, but I think we'll probably have a little bit more content, and maybe after Christmas, let's see what happens in the next few days with these filings and see what happens. If they get this in to be heard, they could have it heard in the next, week.
Dude, I want to be the fly when the judge says, quit it. Stop it.
Yeah. Well, I think, the big thing is it's Christmas. I've been thinking about Kay and Larry and Charles's boys and Annie and everybody. And Colby and
Cheryl and all those.
There's so many people that, last year it just wasn't known what happened. This is kind of like the first Christmas where they know the kids are dead.
Yeah.
This is the boys' second Christmas without Charles, and just it makes me grateful for what I have. There's so much hurt in this family, and right now there's just not much going on to remedy at least that. It's all a slow process.
Yeah. So Kay's daughter has been releasing some videos.
Yeah.
I've seen, I think her name's Cretia. I think that's right.
I'm not sure.
I think that's right.
I wanted to tweet and Facebook those videos, and I think I will. I've seen them on other groups. I'm always real hesitant to share. Like if Colby puts a picture up or something, I'm always so hesitant to share because I don't know. I just feel like that's his stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't. But I'll release them. If you haven't seen them, it's really cute. What's on those videos?
Yeah. So the first one she did was like JJ on, I guess it was Kay and Larry's bus, because I think that's what they do, charter bus stuff. And so he was on the bus and he was on the microphone. It was so cute. I think one of his little cousins was there with him or something.
Yeah.
And then Larry comes in and says some stuff. It's just really cute. He was so funny.
Oh, he was adorable.
Yeah.
And we've seen a clip of that, but this was like the full version.
Yes.
But what was so cute to me is when Larry starts singing, JJ gets so excited.
Yeah.
You see his whole body react. He's just super excited that Papa's on there singing. And then the other one was him doing his ABCs.
Yeah.
But that was Charles on that video. That was Charles's voice, I believe.
Yeah, I think so too.
Super, super cute. And it's always nice to see videos of the kids because we see more still pictures than anything.
Yeah.
And to hear his little voice and to see his body language and stuff, it really drives home.
Yeah.
As if we don't know how sad this is to see a living little boy on a video and know his fate. It just breaks your heart. But we're thinking about all the families involved this holiday season. It's weird how we haven't met any of them, but you sort of feel like you know them and you hurt for them for their losses. But hey, maybe next year, we're coming into 2021. Let's hope it's not the craziness that we've had in 2020.
Oh, I know, right?
It's been such a crazy year.
Ooh, yep.
But I'm grateful because I'm ending the year with a healthy family and a good life.
Yep.
So got to keep that perspective in times like these.
Exactly.
But so maybe next year, hopefully we can go out to a hearing or two when COVID slows down and maybe things get a little bit back to normal. And they still haven't had the public memorial with Kay and Larry that they wanted. I know COVID's thrown a wrench in everything, but I think, hopefully soon we'll start getting some more charges. We'll have much more to talk about. And but in the meantime, shout out to Mikhail.
Hey, Mikhail.
And to everybody on Twitter. I have fun tweeting everybody. I haven't really been super active lately, but
because I read a lot of those messages or whatever comments people make, and it's cool to interact with people.
It really
is. You guys
is.
are cool.
It's fun, yeah. It's we still got to get YouTube back up and running. But our Twitter followers, they keep us straight. If we make a mistake, they tell us, and we're super grateful for that. And just the conversation over there is a good group of people. So just follow us on social media and join the conversation. And I think once the holidays are over, we'll at least pick up to at least one a week.
Yeah.
One podcast a week. We're just going to start creating our own content.
Yep.
And eventually, like we said before, we may pick up a new case or two.
Yep.
And start doing some stuff. But in the meantime, we hope you guys have a Merry Christmas. And I think we'll probably be back between Christmas and New Year because I think there's going to be some movement on this stuff in the next few weeks.
Oh, most definitely.
And if anything major happens, we'll hop on because you live 5 minutes from me and it's pretty easy to do.
Yep.
But now I think all of our traveling's over for a while, and so we're here to serve.
Yep.
Try to find some content and go from there.
All right.
All right. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas. Have a good evening.
Yep.
With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.